Hello everyone, I'm Michelle. I will be presenting my final report for design research methodology. Here are the list of things that I will cover in my presentation. We'll start off with my research topic and problem. So I'm studying the influence of hyper-personalization systems on user satisfaction in social media. The problem I'm covering is social media system that is customized to each user, so it's presented differently to everyone. This is intended to improve user satisfaction. However, in practice, these lead to unintended consequences such as privacy control and diversity problems. And so, to investigate the problem further, I come up with three questions. First, what are the systems used to create hyper-personalization in social media platforms? Second, what are the effects of these systems for user experience? And lastly, what key factors should be considered to ensure that these systems improve user satisfaction? And my objective is to answer these questions. So I did some research regarding my topic and make critical reviews. The first one is about the meanings of social media use in everyday life, and it explained how social media provide entertainment, help regulate moods, and form personal meanings to each individual. Second is about demystifying the social media algorithm, and the study describes how social media holds the front of information and is the force of social networks. Therefore, awareness, clarity, and transparency of these systems must be taken seriously. And lastly, is about the impact of AI-driven personalization on UI UX design. And this highlights that though innovations enhance user engagement, they also brought up ethical doubts, especially on data privacy, algorithmic transparency, and inclusivity. Moving on to my methodologies, I'm using a mixed method combining document analysis as the qualitative method and survey as the quantitative. I analyzed a credible document that's at least 5 years old to understand how hyper-personalization systems work, and I did a survey on at least 110 Indonesian participants who uses one platform of social media minimum. And this is to obtain how these systems affect users and how it can be improved for user satisfaction. And based on my document analysis, I can conclude that personalization in social media works by first collecting user data from tracking their behaviors and then creating individual profiles for them, then utilizing machine learning technologies to predict suitable contents, then delivering them to the users. Then every interaction will form a continuous loop where it trains the algorithm and keeps it updated. So for my survey, a total of 116 participants answered, but only 112 are Indonesian. And from the 112, half of them are young adults from 18 to 29 years old, and the rest came from various age groups from kids, teenagers, adults to older adults. Most of them use social media daily, and they uses it for various uh, range of duration, but the most dominant one is 3 to 4 hours. The top three most popular social media platforms are Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and most of the participants use social media for multiple purposes rather than one sole purpose. Next, the second part of the survey on perceptions of personalization in social media. So most of the participants know that social media are presented differently for different users, but when asked about hyper-personalization systems, those who don't know or know very little about it outweighs the ones who know about it. And when asked about opinions on the factors causing differences in social media to different users, several themes come up, which are user behavior and engagement. So how the user interact with social media and other people through social media. And second, their personal interest and preference. So the things they like and the things they spend time on. And third is age differences. So those underage people might have certain restrictions. Fourth, cultural and regional differences. So different locations may have different rules on their social media. Fifth, technology defies differences. And lastly, algorithm. So different social media, different technology might have different systems. Now, the third part of the survey on user experiences with hyper-personalization systems in social media. So most of the participants felt that social media platforms understand their preferences, but most of them also have been creeped out by how social media seems to know them very well. When asked whether they have felt negative feelings toward repeated contents, the answers are quite divided and equal between agree to disagree. But most agree that personalization systems limit their exposure to diverse information. Then they also agree that personalization systems contributes to addictive behaviors. However, they admit that this makes their experience more enjoyable. Most of the participants agree that personalization in social media increase their time spent, but they rate their emotional well-being as neutral, better, and much better. Then, when asked about personal experiences, the answers are quite divided. Some felt a positive emotional impact and felt an increase on the practical usefulness of social media, while some felt boredom, echo chamber effect, addiction, overuse, and doom scrolling, while some remain somewhere in the middle, feeling both positive and negative impacts. The last part of the survey, which is guidelines to improve user satisfaction. So, dominantly, the participants agree that they would prefer many personalizations on their social media. However, they also agree that they would prefer to have many control of it. And these are the features that they would prefer to have in their social media. The two most dominant one is the transparency of information on how the personalization system works and an option to choose the type and amount of personal data used for behavior tracking. In summary, hyperpersonalization in social media are systems to create a customized user experience that improve user engagement and platform functionality. However, it initiates new concerns in content diversity, user control, and privacy. Therefore, they should consider features such as data control option, system transparency, personalization reset or edit tools, customizations, and diverse recommendations. And the study's limitation is that it might not be sufficient enough to be considered a general representation of how personalization systems work across every social media for every user. However, it could be used as a consideration and imagery of how the systems could be improved for user satisfaction. These are the list of references used to create this study. And that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.